everyone, as you're coming in. We're super excited to speak with you all tonight. We're just letting people come in, so bear with us. We'll get started here soon as we get everybody invited into the room. My name is Sharon Freeman. I am your pleasant host for this evening. So I hope to have some fun and to get your questions answered for today's panel. So we'll get started here soon.
Hi, Chooks. Good to see you. I'm not sure what's happening with my camera, but I'm going to reconnect and I'll try again.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, so it looks like we have most people who are joining right now in the room. We will still continue to allow people to come in as they trickle in. So just wanted to say thank you all for joining tonight's panel discussion. If you feel free or feel comfortable, I love to see smiley faces or faces. So we would love to see you and turn on your cameras. If you're unable to, I totally understand, but just wanted to offer that up for the space. Just to kick things off, I'll introduce myself. So my name is Sharon Freeman. I am a career coach here at App Academy. I've been with App Academy for the last couple of months. And so for some of your faces, or hopefully in the near future, I will be working with you to help you land the software engineering job of your dreams. So I'm excited to be here today to speak with you all, to talk to you more about App Academy and what we do, and you all starting or potentially starting your journey with us. I know some of you have already started the process. So it will be kind of free flowing. What I'll do is I've introduced myself. I'm going to introduce our panel for tonight's discussion, and then we're going to go through and answer questions that a lot of you submitted prior to tonight's panel discussion. And then kind of wrap things up at the end. If there's any immediate questions, we can answer those as well. Sound good? All right. So for tonight's panel discussion, we have Chooks, who's an alumni of App Academy. And we also have my peer Naja, who works as a specialist here at the company. So I will pass it off to Chooks to introduce himself for tonight's panel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chooks Oda. I am currently a software engineer, or I guess a data engineer at Nissan Technologies out of California. I live in Little Rock, Arkansas. I just graduated from App Academy in June of last year. Is that a good intro? Anything else?
That is a good intro. Cool. That's a good intro. Thank you, Chooks. Naja, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nigel Williams. I am an admissions specialist here at App Academy. I've been here since October, so it's been a few months, but super, super excited to be here. And I am from East Orange, New Jersey. So any Northern New Jersey folks close to New York City, you might be close to me.
All right, great. Looks like someone said they're originally from Little Rock, Arkansas, too. So thank you, Naja and Chooks, for introducing yourself. So we'll just kind of kick things off and go into some questions for the panel tonight. Chooks and Naja, feel free to answer these questions just based on your individual experiences, both as staff and also based on alumni. I'm sorry, we have one more person that needs to introduce themselves that's going to be on our panel tonight. Amira. I hope I did not butcher your name. Sorry.
Hi, everybody. My name is Amira Gates. I am a software engineer here at App Academy. Actually, I am also an alumni. I graduated from App Academy March of last year, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. Like my dates are kind of mixed up, but it was sometime last year. But yeah, I'm excited to be here with you guys and answer all the questions that I can. So yeah.
Great, great. So that's exciting. So we have, alumni, we have, someone on our panel that's also going to be speaking from the admissions process. And you also have me as a career coach here as well. So you have the full gamut and full experience represented for tonight's panel discussion. So thank you, Amira, for introducing yourself. Let's get into some of these questions. And for those who are on the panel, you can feel free to answer just based on your individual experience, either as staff or as a alumni of the App Academy program. So the first question that I wanted to ask you is, what is the most rewarding part of being Black and part of the tech world? That's a question that the audience had asked.
I could go first, I guess.
Okay.
I think the most rewarding part of being a Black woman in the tech industry, I would say, is being able to inspire other Black women, other Black men, even, just the Black community in general, that this is something that is possible. It's not just a dream or an idea for someone else. It's something that we can also accomplish. So when I see Black women and Black men applying to App Academy, I get excited because I can tell that the message is getting out there. And I just want it to get out there more and more so that everyone has the opportunity to take advantage of this chance, this boot camp, basically. Yeah, that's mine.
Okay. Great.
I'll say being on that mission team, I love seeing that there's more Black and brown people coming into the tech world. Kind of similar to what Amira is saying, it's not impossible. That notion that we've had of Black people working in tech, it's not possible, or we think that we can't kind of plateau to the next level. We need to ignore that. It no longer is a thing, or it shouldn't be a thing. I love to encourage students on a daily basis, whether it be them going through that admission process, or if they just have a general feeling of not really being able to get into tech. I think it's possible. So yeah, we need more Black and brown people. We need more of a diverse culture, and it's clearly possible. There's plenty of you that's on this call. So don't ever tell yourself you can't do it, because you can. Being Black and brown should not be your reason to not do it.
I guess, is it my turn now? Also, sorry if I look away. I'm still technically working. So I guess to expand on Amira's answer a little bit, it is incredible to be in the position I'm in to inspire other Black people that are wanting to get into tech. But it also feels really good that traditionally I'm not supposed to be here. I'm saying, as a Black man, I'm not supposed to be in the position that I'm in, doing the things that I'm doing. So I think that's probably been one of the most rewarding things, is being able to especially people like my parents and other Black men, make them proud of where I am. So
salute.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering that question. So next question that I wanted to go into, and I feel passionate about this question because I get it a lot, even when students go through the program and we're doing the job search, is how did you deal with imposter syndrome, particularly Cheeks and Amira, when you were going through the program? And then also, Naja, for you, it'd be great, I think, to touch on what potential App Academy students can do to kind of work through that, through the admissions process, right, as they're applying to the program. So who wants to go first with that?
I can go first. I said I don't really have a great answer for that. I guess how I dealt with it was just study a lot. I just spent a lot of time perfecting my craft. And yeah, just I guess one thing to remember is that nobody else, especially going through the program, no one else really knows what they're doing either. So even though it seems like you may be the only one that and even working, I get told to Google stuff after asking questions all the time. So just know that a lot of other people also don't know what they're doing. So it's okay.
Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is hard to get over. I still deal with it to this day. I don't think it'll ever be something that I'll completely get over, but I think the main thing to do is to just not like compare yourself at any point to anyone else's journey. Like my journey is my journey, your journey is your journey. How we get there is just what it ends up being, you know what I mean? So you can't really control the outcome of other people's lives. You can only control your outcome. So I just try to remind myself about that and stay present in the moment. But yeah, imposter syndrome is just something that comes with this territory because we're constantly learning anyway. So you're going to feel it a lot more, I think. But yeah, basically just remembering your journey is your journey. I'll leave it at that.
I too am still dealing with the imposter syndrome, so that should be interesting on the day I'm finally over it, if I am. But I'd say going through that mission process, most important is to really just stay focused. Think about what your end goal is. If your passion and your motivation is to become a software engineer or to work in tech, just focus on that. You're going to come across people that might doubt you. You might even doubt yourself, but point the finger at yourself, hold yourself accountable, stay focused. Know that as an admission specialist, our job is to encourage you to do better and to be better. So you don't have to put so much on yourself. Just focus. And as Amir was saying earlier, like you just need to study, like a lot of studying. And once you get past that, you'll be fine.
All right, great. So you got some words of wisdom for everyone in the room. So I know Chooks, if I heard him, he mentions, studying, remembering that everybody, started at a certain point, you're on the same level. I know Amira was talking about the fact that you want to run your own race. Make sure that you are not comparing yourself to other people. And then, as Naja mentioned, remember, as you're going through the admission process, that we're here to encourage you, right? We're on your side. So I hope that you all take those words of wisdom with you tonight into your next steps. And with that, we'll go into our next question. So, with software engineering, right, there's so many different opportunities, and you all may be interested in finding out, like, how do I kind of plan or scope my career and what this will look like, right, to really decide about joining this program. So for Cheeks and Amira, if you could kind of just talk about how did you scope out what you wanted your career to look like? In terms of your career, right? Or the jobs that you have now once you graduated.
I'll go first this time. I think for me, I didn't really have a clear idea of my next step after graduating, to be honest. I came into the program not having my college degree. I also started out my background was mainly in customer service, so I didn't really have any form of, I don't know, just traditional job, I guess, basically. So I felt like I had a disadvantage coming in, to be honest. But after graduating and being a part of the job search and having that support and people letting me know about different opportunities that I could take advantage of to set me apart with my background, that was always beneficial to me. So I would say basically, if you come in feeling disadvantaged or you don't really have a direction, lean on the people that can help you find that direction and kind of give you that path to take, in a sense. I leaned on my career coach a lot, and then I found Heather, who helped me a lot in my personal development. So it's just lean on those people that can help you get to where you need to be if you have no idea what you're doing and you're just trying to navigate blindly, basically.
Right. And Amira, with that, I know you also balance being in the program and also being a parent. Can you talk a little bit more about that for those who, are thinking, can I juggle, raising a family and also participate in the program, and how you kind of balance that during the program?
Yes. So it was hard. It's very hard to balance wanting to devote your time to something that you're passionate about, you care about, while also having someone you love, you want to give all your time to at home. I would say for me, I was blessed to have a just huge support system. Like my family was just there for me. I like let them know, look, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm doing it for. Like I'm trying to better my life or trying to better our life. And this is what I have to do that. So I just need y'all support in this moment. And luckily I had that support. So if this is something that you want to do and you're a parent, I would say first, just like figure out if this is something you really, really want to do. That's first. Take that time to really work on things and like work with code a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And just make sure it's something you really want to devote your time to, because this will take up all your time. And support for me was everything. I feel like I'm making this answer long, and I hope that y'all are hearing me, but basically just have a support system and make sure this is something you really want to do and that you have a goal in mind. Like my baby was my goal, and that's how I got through the program when stuff got hard, basically. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable and opening up about your experience.
Okay, so the original question was what was the original question?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So talk a little bit about like, how did you scope out the career you kind of wanted in software engineering?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I was similar to Amira. Like coming in, I would work with code before, but I didn't really have a hard and fast plan for what I wanted to do. But that really got hemmed up a bunch towards I really got hemmed up a bunch towards the end, like after graduating kind of. So the way that I viewed graduating App Academy was kind of like graduating high school, right? Like there's so many avenues in code that it's almost impossible to like know exactly what you're going to do or exactly what you love to do, right? So like right now, I knew I wanted to work with backend. I had like a good idea, but now I work with data, and I'm in love with it. So it's something that I found that I really enjoy. So that's kind of how my personal journey went. I think I'm going to stay in this realm probably for the rest of my career, but yeah, so I would say don't feel discouraged. Like Amir said, if you don't really kind of know, you just know you love to code, you love to problem solve. I feel like all will kind of be apparent with time. So.
Great. Thanks. So I know some of you have dropped in the chat questions that you have. To let you know, of course, like tonight's panel is for you, right? So we do, of course, we have panelists, we have questions we're asking, but if you do have a question, like as our different panelists are talking, feel free to drop it in the chat. If it's something that we can answer, we're more than willing to answer right now. If it's something that we need to have like a mission specialist follow up on, then we will let you know that as well. So I just wanted to share that with you all. I see someone is saying they lost sound. Can everybody hear me, or is anybody else having any sound issues? Okay. All right, great. So yeah, this you. Okay. All right, great. Any other questions before kind of go off to another question that we have? All right. So another question that I just wanted to share, and it's a big one that comes up, is how do you network, or how have you networked in tech spaces? And particularly if it's either been through networking or in workspaces, how have you navigated, or have you had any experiences where you had to navigate networking or working with people in spaces where you felt unwelcomed?
I guess I can answer this one. So the best opener I found in general is asking questions. So everybody likes to feel smart, everybody likes to feel wanted. So that's really helped me get to know a lot of people. It's part of what helped me find my job, was asking questions of people. So even if it's stuff that like just small stuff, if you say you're looking on LinkedIn for a specific, or you're working on something specific, find someone that does that particular job, and just send them a LinkedIn message, ask them about, I don't know, whatever particular topic that it is. And that's opened up a lot of conversations and a lot of connections and avenues for me. And at the workplace, I've gotten like a really lot of helpful resources just by asking questions of people. So I feel like that's a really good way to network and like open up connections with others. So
I agree with Chooks. Like, same with me, getting my position came from a question. So as long as you express interest to people that are working within the network, or you just like reach out, like, I have a question about this, like everyone's very open to helping you. They're very open to conversation. So as long as you take the first step, that'll get you somewhere, you know? So yeah, I just agree with that in general. Ask questions to whoever, just DM them.
Okay. I'll kick off to some questions that were in the chat. I'll bounce it back to you, Chooks and Amira, and then I'll go to you, Naja. But I think that this question is kind of ties into the networking, or I know a question that did come up that we can talk about. So I know a lot of people have expressed or feeling or thinking that they need to have coded before, or a certain level of coding before joining App Academy. So if you could just talk a little bit about what was your history with coding before starting, right? And what that looks like. I think that that would be very helpful for, those that are in the process or interested in applying, kind of hearing your experiences.
did you say me first? Am I going first?
It could be you or Amira, whichever one.
I'll let you go, Amir.
Okay. Right. Well, for myself, I was in school learning different languages, so I kind of had experience there. I didn't complete my degree, but I did major in a number of things like electrical engineering, cybersecurity. I was all over the place with it, but I, in that time, did pick up on a few languages, just the beginning, and that then sparked me wanting to go on and pursue the career with software engineering and web development. So I don't feel like it's essential to have worked with a language fully, maybe just a little bit. I think the main thing would be having a passion and interest, because this is a field that's going to take you wanting to constantly want to learn it. So if you get tired of learning at any point, it kind of would be, yeah. So I hope that makes sense. Basically, I came in with some college experience.
Great.
Yep.
So before App Academy, I was a therapist. So I had very minimal experience with code. I started App Academy because I started taking like a Python course on my own, but that was kind of my only exposure, was like a little bit of Python that I worked with. But I felt like App Academy did the pretty great job of like starting from the beginning with like the super granular basics. So yeah, personally, I don't think I agree with Amira, where it's not really essential to have just like a ton of experience with code in order to do well. Because I feel like when you get into your job, you're gonna have to learn new stuff regardless. So
Okay. So now, Naja, I will kick it over to you. I thought this was an excellent question. Someone wanted to know, what is the biggest challenge of being a admissions counselor specialist?
I would say the biggest struggle that I have right now is trying to find a way to just encourage all students, no matter your background. As both Chooks and Amir was saying, like, you don't have to come in with a lot of experience. But I noticed that when some students get to the admission process, they do get a little discouraged. Like specifically, we do have a coding challenge, and if you don't come in with any knowledge, you might look at that like, I'm probably going to fail that, so I'm not too sure how I'm going to do. I'm trying to find a way to just kind of get students to just try it anyway, because you don't know how you're going to do until you try it. But I mean, we also have those feelings of doubt. I just don't know how I'm going to do. And if I'm not going to pass that admission process, or if I don't attempt to pass it, then I'm probably not going to do well working in tech. And that's actually not true. I find it's more trial and error more than anything else. We do have App Academy open. Yeah, I'm over here sponsoring it, but it's awesome because it is completely free and it is a great way for you to even know if this is something that you genuinely want to do. So just trying to get that conversation of like leaving the fear to the wayside, like that means nothing right now. We just need to focus on that end goal of becoming a software engineer or just working in tech as a whole. That would probably be my biggest challenge. But overall, I think some students just realize they need a little bit more time to kind of jump into it, and that's not a bad thing. I think when students get a little bit discouraged and they want to start now, but then they realize they need to start a few months later, then they might not go back to it. They might leave their passion at the door, and you shouldn't do that. So I guess that would be like my biggest challenge, like just trying to get that motivation through to all students, but it's possible. Don't stop. Never stop, in fact.
Yes. And I'll just add to that on the placement end, right? Being the person that kind of uh, helps students get a job right after they graduate. I see people and I help people all the time from various backgrounds, like Troops and Amira mentioned, like from no college degree to, maybe they were a truck driver. I've seen a police officer to, mental health background, like you name it, everything that you can think of come through. And again, I'm always placing people or always having offers come through for big amounts at top companies looking to hire our talent and are interested in these people because they've went through the program and they're passionate and they're really enjoy what they do for a living. So, definitely don't let that discourage you from applying. There are companies that are out here hiring our graduates all the time from all different backgrounds into really, really good jobs at high salaries. Okay, we're talking at least like, 60, 70 higher. So I just wanted to share that as well. Okay, so someone else had a question for the alumni panel about what's your favorite thing about being a software engineer?
Uh, so I guess my favorite thing is I love to problem solve, and I feel like that's like 80% of it, and the rest of it is syntax. So that's like my favorite thing is like pretty much every day I'm faced with a new problem that, I mean, lots of Googling, lots of asking questions, I love that process of like running into a problem you've never seen before, leaning on other people that have seen the problem or just figuring it out yourself. I love that feeling of like spending 45 minutes on something being broken and fixing it. So I really enjoy that stuff. So that's my favorite thing about being a software engineer.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you in that regard, Chooks. I would also say that no 2 days are the same. So every day there's like a new problem to be faced. There's a new thing to attack, which is always refreshing. You never get bored. I think also I love learning. So like I've got to constantly say, if you're someone who enjoys learning, this is like the perfect field for you because every day is a lesson, honestly. And I just enjoy being in a community of people that understand that every day is a lesson and there's always someone there that's like willing to help you get through that journey of each day. So yeah, I think that's my favorite part.
Okay, great. Thank you. I noticed that I think it's Olivia had a check mark or there was something put up by her name. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have a question or if that was in the raise of the hand. If not, or if so, you can let me know or kind of drop something in the chat. Okay, so we had another, no worries. I just wanted to make sure that we were good. So we have some other questions in the chat. Keep them going. I like them. A lot of them are alluding to the questions that we already had. So again, we want to feel free to answer the questions that you all have directly in the room as well. So Brandon had wanted to know for the alumni, what were some of the biggest challenges during App Academy and how did you get through them?
I think the biggest challenge for me would be not comparing myself to other people. I know I told you guys not to do that, but I say that because I did it myself. Like I kind of would, I knew that we were all coming in from different backgrounds and everyone had their own set of expertise, but I would let that kind of play against me, and that I felt like I had to be at a certain level that I really didn't need to be, or like I couldn't ask a question at this time and not understand something in the moment because everyone else seems to understand it. So yeah, I think that was my biggest challenge, just remembering myself and looking out for me regardless of what other people were doing.
That's a hard question. I guess for me personally, the most difficult part was, or sometimes the biggest challenge was the pace. I mean, you kind of know what you're getting into with a 6-month program like this, or whatever program you guys are getting into, but it goes pretty quickly. It's good. I mean, you feel like you get lots of support and lots of help, but it is a fast-paced program, right? So I feel like that was probably my biggest challenge going into it, or I guess during it. But I mean, it's overcome pretty easily by the aforementioned help. And I mean, there's always somebody to help you. I've had several TAs stay with me like at least an hour and a half after class is over to like help me with stuff and things like that. So yeah, I think that was probably my biggest challenge was the pace.
Okay. So I'm just blowing it up to see. Okay, the next question, and this could be for everyone that's on the panel. How do you balance work and your personal life? Especially if your experience has been that you went through the boot camp full time. How did you balance?
I guess going now that I'm working, it's a lot easier because I work from a set time to set time. And the program is a set time to a set time, but I felt like I needed to work a lot more than what I had to. So I spent the first 2 months like spending 18 hours a day coding, and then I got really, really miserable. So after that, I really started to, um, be introspective and realize that I needed to spend more time outside of my room, spend more time with my family. Still, like not neglect the hobbies I had before I started coding and before I started doing all this stuff. So it's just, I guess, this the important part is just being cognizant of your life outside of coding, especially with the full-time program.
Yeah, I agree with Chooks. I think it's really easy to get lost in code and in the program and the end goal, but I think it's important to remember yourself and your sanity and just take some time away each day to just breathe and recollect yourself, because it is very easy to get burnt out. So yes, definitely try to take a step back, at least one day out of the week away from code. I tried to do that on Sundays for me.
Hi, I wanted to know, uh, once you start making such a good salary and that type of stuff, do they allow you to work possibly from any state?
So I can kind of chime in and answer that question, right? I think that question it's very unique, right? That's company to company. What I will say, in the tech space, right, because you're using technology, you do find that there are a lot of companies that are open to their employees either working completely remotely, so they might be 100% remote company. They're open to their employees working remotely, or they have some sort of hybrid model. Especially right now, given, since we've been in the pandemic for the last couple of years. So it varies company to company, but I would say most companies are still operating either in a hybrid model, meaning that you come in some days and then you work remotely other days, or the company is 100% remote, or it doesn't matter, they're right if you come to the office or if you work remote. So they kind of leave it open to the employee based on their personal needs and lifestyle. So that's kind of the nature right now. In terms of interviewing, the interview process right now as well, we found that most companies are still doing interviews remotely. There are a few that have potential candidates come in maybe at like the final interview, like the final on-site, but most are still operating in a remote capacity or a hybrid model. So life is changing every day, right? We know it's been a whirlwind the last couple of years, but I would say there's definitely a lot of opportunities in the tech space, right, in the labor market to pursue career opportunities with companies that are allowing you to work remotely or work solely remotely. There are a lot of opportunities in that space.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I see, is it Pippa Boy? You had a question?
Oh yeah, I didn't know that was I trade. That's not the pip like the you're in trouble pip. That's like a trading thing. I got it. All right.
Okay.
Sorry. I have a couple of questions. So how did y'all feel as a newcomer entering a new job? Like, did you feel prepared after the boot camp to keep up with your other coworkers? And two, is there a ceremony for like graduation or anything?
I'll go with this. For my cohort, we did have a graduation ceremony, which was very nice. I do hope that tradition is still going on. I'm pretty sure it would be because that's like a crazy moment. So of course they have to commemorate it. But and then I think your second question was, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting what the second question was.
Like as a newcomer into that new job, like how did you feel like coming out of boot camp? Did you feel prepared to keep up with your other coworkers, like as far as the workload and knowing what's going on and things like that?
Okay, so I think for me, it was important to find a job with a company or just a job in general where my growth would be valued. So I was looking for the company that would support my initial steps within the company in terms of like helping me get settled and what the training process will look like. So just kind of getting those questions answered and finding that right fit for me in my journey was important for me. So I hope that answers the question. Basically, yes, I did feel supported and I did feel that support because I searched for that support, basically.
Yeah, so Amir answered the graduation question. I'm pretty sure we had one too. I didn't go though, so but I'm almost positive we had one. Also, as far as feeling prepared, yeah, most definitely. I think it, like Amir said, it kind of depends on the company. So you kind of have to look for that support, depending on what your needs are. But I think the most important thing is that App Academy really taught me kind of how to learn in like the tech and like coding space. So I felt pretty prepared to learn anything. Kind of like I learned Java when I started working at this job. So in like a pretty short amount of time. So I felt like App Academy did a great job of really like preparing me what learning in kind of a like a compacted fashion looks like in general. So
Okay, great. So I know there was a couple of questions that came in the chat about like, can we look forward to these events moving forward? I know there was another question that was asked about like, what are we doing as App Academy in terms of like recruitment, selections, other things, and our diversity and inclusion initiatives. So I just wanted to kind of open that up. I know, and Heather, you can chime in if I'm off, but the intent is to maybe look at doing more events. Like today's event is an example of things that we're doing in that space, right? To kind of engage different segments of the workforce, people from different backgrounds, from a diversity and inclusion perspective. So I do think that's an excellent question. Heather, is there anything else you want to add to that or additional follow-up?
Sure. Sacred, I think this is a really good question and there's a lot to it. So I want to follow up, but I will say App Academy has grown a ton in the past 2 years. So I started 3 years ago. I'd say there's like I don't know, I know like 10 people who have been at the company longer than me. So the fact that most of the people here are new is pretty typical of like, one, like high growth company, and two, tech. There's just a lot of turnover. A lot of App Academy graduates like Amira, like start at App Academy and then, you know, end up going somewhere else. That's awesome. So we're very lucky that we get to work with her. We're very lucky that, you know, I got to work with Chooks a little bit too. But in terms of diversity, equity, equality, inclusivity, and accessibility prior to 2020, 2021, I'm not sure. I only know like my experience since being here. So I'd say the biggest things that I've seen change are, one, like scholarships targeting underrepresented groups. So look up Facebook App Academy scholarship. If you're a woman, if you're Black, Indigenous, Latinx, like you qualify for it. So look it up, apply for it. Definitely recommend that. Yeah, there's a lot going on internally as well to try to recruit diverse staff members as well. But yeah, I want to give you like a fuller answer and like a more fuller picture than what I know as well. So we will definitely follow up on that because I think that's important.
And I also wanted to let you all know that we just dropped in the chat access to those scholarships. So if you have more questions about them, then you can look in the chat for links for more opportunities as well. The next couple of questions that we got, and I just kind of wanted to frame it, was talking a little bit more about the job search process and what the job search looks like, right? Because ultimately with the program, you want to learn how to code, right? But you also want to transition and get a new job or start a new career. So I thought it would be great, Cheeks and Amir, if you could kind of talk about what was your experience like with the job search process and the support that you received from App Academy during that process as well, through coaches and et cetera.
Okay, so I don't want to sound disparaging, but I guess to be candid, the job search itself sucks. Looking for a job and interviewing and spending, you know, a couple of weeks with a company just for them to pick somebody else, like all that stuff sucks, right? But the support staff from App Academy was really, really, really awesome. So I had Tina. None of you guys know who Tina is, but she was my career coach. And she was really, really awesome. And she was even like willing to meet me, you know, for like 10 or 15 minutes after, let's say I'm particularly angry about an interview process I thought I did really well on, didn't get the job, whatever. She was willing to sit down and talk to me 10, 15 minutes, get my head on straight, stuff like that. On top of that, they're really, really, really helpful with sending like tons of jobs your way. So they're awesome with like, there's pretty much a daily email with jobs at some company that's looking for engineers. I know they have like a lot of partners and stuff like that. Najin would be able to tell you way more about that than I would, but the App Academy portion of the job search, I mean, there's not really much to beat. Is like, I loved it. I felt really, really supported.
Yeah, the job search is definitely, I think, the hardest part of the entire bootcamp experience, in that it is a trying time when you're excited to go into this new field and start at a new company, but you're facing rejection back to back. You kind of get discouraged throughout, but you definitely are supported. Like, I don't think there has ever been a time where I didn't have someone that I could call on or lean on for some form of support in any area, whether it be I have an interview tomorrow because someone maybe do a mock interview with me really fast, like just to help me get my nerves together, or can anyone maybe go over these questions with me? Like just yesterday, I did that with a friend of mine, and then she got a role because, you know, it's just like that helping hand. We all help each other through this process because we all know what it's like to be in each other's shoes at that point. So yeah, the job search is very hard, but as long as you do your best and try to reach out and take advantage of the resources that are there for you, you'll be fine. I know it. Yeah.
Yes. Those are great. I think those are great tips, great questions. Um, and that is the biggest advice that I would give to you all as well, or that I give to students who are in the job search process, right? Like there's so many resources that are available here at App Academy. There's so many coaches that even have a wealth of knowledge or just different backgrounds, rather in human resources, recruitment, etc. So they know the hiring process. They work with these different companies, right? And so tapping into those resources that you have available, asking questions, not really tapping into like that imposter syndrome, right? As you're working through that process, because it's going to feel uncomfortable. Anytime you've already been trying something new and then you're going through that process or transition, right? There's feelings of uncomfortable, but knowing ultimately like you deserve to be here, you deserve to be in this space, I would say is the biggest thing that you want to be aware of and know, right? As you're going through this process, you deserve to be in this space. So I just wanted to share that. Does anybody else have any questions regarding the job search process, like specifically, or anything that we haven't touched on? Okay. I know we're kind of getting down to the last 10 minutes, so I also just wanted to open it up in general. If anybody had any other questions that they wanted to ask right now that we have, or around topics that we haven't talked about, or any questions that they wanted to address to our wonderful panel members this evening.
I guess I'll go again. So with me going full time, I'm going full time into the program. I'm actually like turning my whole like life is about to like change within a couple of weeks. I'm planning on working part time overnight to support my family. How much is the workload after school for me to like prepare myself for what's coming?
I think you should answer this one.
So, what's your name?
My name is Jeremy.
Jeremy. Okay, Jeremy. So, I'm gonna be on. It's going to be difficult. There's not a ton of like assigned homework per se. Like there's not just, but there is a lot of topics that you go over. I think you're gonna do great. I think you'll be fine. I also worked a part-time job for the first little while, so I think it's good. I think you're gonna do really well. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or not. Sorry. Okay.
It's a hard question for us to answer because as the program progresses, things build off of each other. You get kind of deeper into what you're learning, and more time then has to be spent in putting all the pieces together. So I would say it's possible, but it'll be definitely difficult as long as you have that determination to get through it. And you're like, I'm going to devote this amount of time to reading tonight, and then I'll try to get some more in the morning. Just balancing out your schedule for yourself will definitely help you be more successful. But yeah, it's such a hard question to answer because it's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. Not to discourage you at all.
Oh no, I'm ready. I'm
Yeah,
ready.
sorry, I
Trust me.
wasn't trying to scare you or anything. But
No, trust me. I'm not scared. I'm already preparing to like mentally preparing myself for the next 6 months. Trust me.
Good.
And I think with that, right, there's also payoff in return, right, when you're going through that process too. So I would just keep that in mind as well, because I think Chooks and Amira, and even Nigel mentioned it earlier as well, right? Like knowing you're going through this process, but also having the end game in mind as well, and like continuing to focus on that as you go through the process. Because I even found sometimes like once people go through the program, right, you're going into the job search. So it's like constantly having the focus of that end goal in mind is what's really going to keep you, going throughout the entire process as well. Janice, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Let me know if not. I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, you can either call me Janice or Janice. Doesn't
Okay.
matter. I am who I am. So thank you to all the panelists tonight for sharing your perspectives. It's been truly enlightening. Naja, I wanted to ask you a question as a fellow admission specialist. Is there anything that you could share with us about your ability to connect with minorities on an interpersonal level?
That was a great question. Um, I'd say personally, for all of my fellow Black and Brown folks, or for anyone of minorities, any minorities, better yet, um, I make it a point to really focus on these students in particularly because I am that person in a sense where there was a lot of times where there were a lot of opportunities I could have had in my life and I just didn't do it because I just didn't believe in myself. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think that as a Black female, I'm capable of being able to do X, Y, and Z. So, my main goal when I do talk to students is just trying to encourage students no matter what. Um, I think a lot of Black people have a tendency to think that we're not supposed to do X, Y, and Z, or we weren't raised to do X, Y, and Z. I was raised in a household where I had to survive. I know that might sound crazy, but the goal wasn't, okay, you're going to live a very lavish life and you're going to have money and you're going to have, it was literally just to survive, to make it to 25 or 26, whatever the heck the age was. So I love to see more Black and Brown people coming in wanting to change their lives. So I'm going to be responsible for making sure that you know that you can do it. Because sometimes we have family and we have friends that are around us and they are not encouraging us, or, they are putting a little bit of doubt in us. And once you get that feeling of doubt, you are genuinely going to think that you can't do it. And I can speak off of experience that I no longer accept foolishness like that around me. I'm just going to be honest. So if you're going to jump into that admission process and you're telling me that this is what you want to do, this is your passion, not anyone else's thoughts, this is your passion, this is your dream, then that's what we're going to do. As Trooks and as Amira was saying, like there's a lot of time that you have to put into this program. To any program, let's just be honest. When you're changing your life around, that's huge. The fact that you even thought to want to change your life around is gigantic, and you need to sit in that and accept that. And now it's time to go ahead and put the energy and the time in to do it. So I love to talk to students on a daily basis. I love to encourage students because we can do it. And don't let anybody, and I genuinely mean this, do not let anyone tell you that you can't do it because it's clearly not true. There's plenty of people on here that have done things that they thought that they weren't able to do. So I just think that it's important for me to just kind of have your back. If I have to be your support system, I'll do that. A lot of times when I talk to students, I just do a check-in with them at the beginning of the week and the end of the week. I'm not even asking necessarily what your step is in that mission process. I just want to make sure that mentally you're okay. Because a lot of times we don't talk about our mental being all over the place. So yeah, my goal is just to be there. I got you. And that's genuinely how I am when I talk to any of my students. So yes, and I'm happy that Janice is on here because she's new and she's lovely. So our goal as an admission specialist is just to be there. So we got your back. You're putting in all the work, so the least we can do is just give you all those kind and positive words to keep you pushing.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate you for that. It's because, I'm from New York City originally, so I'm not too far from where you are, but survival of the fittest. I feel you. I like that.
Great question. I know there were some other questions that were in the chat, and they're kind of being answered related to like financial assistance and so forth. So if you had any questions particular to that, I definitely recommend that you take a look at the chat. And then I also know that there was a question regarding around how many hours per day you had to put in for the program. I think Chooks and Amira kind of touched based a little bit on that, right? It's kind of varying or taking a look at that. I don't know if there's anything else you all want to add specifically in terms of a framework, but I just wanted to offer that up. Anything else you all wanted to add to that? Cheeks or Amira? Or do you think you kind of covered that? Okay. All right. Sounds like kind of covered that already. Only other question that I saw, I think it's Serwin had asked, should you focus more on the experience of the first tech job or the pay when deciding to take a job? I think that is an excellent question. And I think it varies person to person, and depending on what your ultimate career goals are, right? And what you kind of have going on. So I will say a lot of people, when it looks at their job search, right, and they're working with their coach, they'll kind of strategize depending on what it is that they're looking for. So like, for example, some people are interested in moving, right? Some people have to stay where they're located. Some people have families, right? So they're like, look, for the last X amount of months, I've been focused on this. I need to like hit the ground running in terms of getting salary, right, underneath my belt. Other people are like, hey, I always have dreamed of becoming or working at Twitch. So like, I want to focus on being an apprentice there, right? So there's so many different avenues. What I would say to you is you want to take a look and do your research and just start to think about, you know, what it is that you want to do in the tech space and how you believe that you'll be able to add value, right? Just with your own unique personality and contributions, and also going through the program. And that will kind of open up the endless possibilities that are available in tech, because there are tons to kind of really answer that question for yourself and your personal life. Okay. Anybody in the panel, any last minute tips, advice that you have for our guests tonight, or any words of wisdom, last minute words of wisdom that you want to share before we end?
I think for me, I hope you all go for it and try to do this, try to change your life. I don't think that there is any point in not. Like, the worst thing that can happen is maybe it doesn't go the way you want it to go the first time, but luckily I feel like App Academy supports you in, if this is something you really want to do, then they'll make a way for you to do it. Like, I don't recall anyone that had a passion or want for this to be something that they like would do not be successful in doing it. So overall, just give it your best shot, and I'm here for you. I love to be a source for brown people of any nature, you know, so please always just reach out, and I would love to help in any way that I can.
Amira said it way better than I ever could. So, yeah, I'm here. If anybody needs me, I'll put my email. I know there's like a few questions I didn't get answered about like specific like student App Academy stuff. So I'll put my email in before I leave. And if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. I may not get back to you like immediately, but I will email back eventually. So please reach out if any of you guys have any questions.
I would say my advice to students that are currently applying is, if you're going to apply, definitely apply yourself, right? Put yourself first. If this is something that you genuinely want to do, like you have the passion for it, just go for it. Like Amir was saying, like, you don't know until you jump in the loops and you just try it. I mean, for goodness sake, I didn't think I was going to be where I am today. I think everything that's happened to me in my life has literally put me where I'm at now. And I know that I'm learning something now for my upcoming future. So just jump in, just do it. As admission specialists, we have your back. We're going to encourage you. We're going to push you through the process. Believe me, you might feel like you're alone, but you're not alone. And it's okay if you just need to talk. If you just need a moment to just breathe and you might say that this is too much, it's okay. We got you. But just do it. At the end of the day, just do it. Like, don't let anyone stop you.
Great. So I want to thank my panelists for participating in today's event. Super appreciate it. I know it's later in the evening, you have lives and so forth like that. So you've been a wealth of knowledge. Definitely appreciate you being here today. For those of you that are guests in the room, I know Amira, and I think she's had put their email addresses in the chat at the bottom. If you have direct questions and you've already started the process, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to your admission specialist with any questions. And then if you have questions outside of that, I don't know if Heather, if there's a point of contact that I can direct outside of what I've mentioned, you can drop in the chat and let me know. And Naja put her email address down as well. I'll put mine as well, just on the placement side. If you have any questions regarding the job search process or anything about jobs, I'm your gal. So my information is in the chat also. So thank you all so much for being here this evening. It was wonderful to speak with you all, and I hope you have a good night.